I don't care if it's a week, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? LeBron James. That's who y'all got to start appreciating. And you got to stop disrespecting this man. You got A.J. Brown, who's a legit number one, and you got Julio, who's another legit number one. One of them dudes got to get double teamed. Who gonna get double teamed? And whoever gets double teamed, the other one gets the ball. I'm saying this with no pun intended, but full of pride. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Prideful Takes podcast. As always, it's your boy Pride, and I got a special guest. I got that boy Chris Pagano, bro. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready to get to it. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, and I appreciate you being here, bro. We're gonna get right into it. We got a very, very packed show, so let's try to rip through this as quick as possible. So first and foremost, Jason Kidd, obviously, he's the new coach for the Mavs. Now, here's the question that, frankly, a lot of people are starting to ask now, which is the question they should have asked. Says Jason Kidd is considered an all-time great point guard. Is there anything he can truly teach Luka Doncic and help unlock his potential? Because the Luka I see now, personally, I think this is the best Luka we're going to see. I don't think there's really much he can do to get better because the kid is already top 5. If you don't think he's top 5, I don't want to talk to you. The kid is just already fantastic. He's already the best player on a playoff caliber team. So, Chris, is there anything that Jason Kidd can legitimately teach Luka to help this team get over the playoff hump?
I definitely think there's a decent amount of things that he can teach Luka. Like you said already, Luka is already a top 5 player in this league, but we got to keep in mind he's still 21 years old. So at the end of the day, like, he's not even technically in his prime yet. Some of the things I remember Mark Cuban saying and JJ Barea when they were both on the JJ Redick podcast, that after Luka's first season in the NBA, he spent his whole offseason basically on vacation playing Fortnite, not really working out. He just took a bunch of time off because he's still a kid. So one of the things that Jason Kidd can really teach Luka is work ethic and how to work out in the offseason and just how to improve athletically, just get stronger and faster. And one of the biggest things I think Luka can learn from Jason Kidd is about being a better defender on the perimeter. And Luka's a big dude. So when those switches come, when they will in the pick and roll, it would be nice for him to be able to defend in the post. And if you remember, it was a decent amount of time ago, but Jason Kidd was a very good defender at the NBA level. And I think those are two things that I think will be vital to launching Luka. Right now, he's top 5 in the league, but if Jason Kidd can do to Luka Doncic like what he did for Giannis, because don't forget now, Jason Kidd was a big part in Giannis's development. And when Jason Kidd left Milwaukee, Giannis was not happy about it because he knew Jason Kidd had a lot to do with his success. So if Jason Kidd can do to Luka Doncic what he did to Giannis, I think top 5 player in the league will turn into top 5 player of all time.
Well, honestly, I don't blame you for saying that. Yeah, and that's something a lot of people kind of forget, that without Jason Kidd, this Giannis that we have presently would not exist. Like, that's Jason true. Kidd had a big part to do. You said top 5 all time. This kid got that potential. Like, this kid already as is, he already plays like a seasoned vet. And like you said, he's only 21. But, like, this kid has been playing professionally since 16. Now, obviously, the defensive side of the ball, Luka does need to work on that. And I'm not even going to really debate that at all. But in terms of the Mavs team, I think that's the only thing he really needs to work with Luka on in terms of his defense. And honestly, I don't think Luka is a bad defender. No. I just think he doesn't care to play defense. He's more of like I want to have the ball in my hand. I want to do the highlight plays, and that's it. And then if somebody else scores, it is what it is. But I'm going to try to score back.
Yeah,
that's kind of the – go ahead.
Instinctively, he's a good defender. Like, he's got good instincts on defense. Mm-hmm. But physically, he's not as strong as he can be. He's not as quick as he can be. And that's what limits him on the defensive side of the ball. So that's what I meant with Jason Kidd. When you look at Giannis transform from his rookie season to his 4th and 5th season, from this all the way to this. Yes. If Luka can get in a really good shape, he can be a well above average defender because he has those instincts. The game on both sides of the ball comes so naturally to him.
Yep, 100%. Like, he's got it all. But in terms of like having success for this team, I think the only thing he's really got to do with Luka is have Luka basically demand people be in certain places. And what I mean by that is, look, they have Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm a fan of Kristaps. I like him. Only issue I have is I don't know whose idea this was. I don't know if he had the idea himself. I don't know if it was Luka's idea. I don't know if it was Rick Carlisle's idea, maybe Mark Cuban. I don't know whose idea it was to put this guy to be like a 3-and-D type of dude is how they're trying to play him. They're trying to make him a 7-foot sharpshooter. I don't know whose idea that was, but that needs to change because I genuinely feel like a lot of the times when we see Luka, people usually say Luka flames out towards the end of games, and then they try to use that and say he's not clutch. The problem is when Luka's playing over 30 minutes a game and he's got the ball virtually the entire time in his hand and he's the one making all the plays, the guy's going to get tired. That's just like a fact. Like, it doesn't matter what team you look, when they have like a 1-2 punch, when the guy was tired, they went to the second guy and was like, okay, look, we're going to leave Luka on the floor. Luka, go in the corner. You're going to chill out, take like 4 or 5 plays. Kind of like what LeBron and Kyrie did in Cleveland. When LeBron had the ball and he needed a break, LeBron, go corner, Kyrie, do your thing. And what they need to do is kind of have Luka be that guy where he tells them where to go, because I don't really see that in Luka. I see him like you said, he relies on instinct. And that's great. But there's times where you can't be instinctive and you kind of got to put your foot down and say, yo, Kristaps, stop complaining. Get your big butt in the paint, put your back to the basket, and you'll get the ball. Like I need to see Luka do that because and I know he's got that in him. You're not a dude who tears your own jersey and starts screaming on the bench if you ain't got that dog in you like that. So
there's no question about that.
Exactly. So I know he can't go up to these guys and tell them what to do. Now, especially him being the best player on that team. And especially with the respect he's starting to get, well, not really starting to get, more like the respect he's had ever since his rookie year. It's like, the only thing, obviously, defensively, but if we're going to talk offensively, Jason Kidd's going to have to sit him down and say, yo, look, you're a point guard. There's times where the point guard, and it doesn't matter what point guard it is, you can go through history. It could have been an average point guard. We've seen J.J. Barea yell at dudes. Mario Chalmers has yelled at D. Wade from time to time. He got chewed out afterwards, but he yelled at him. When you have a good or a great guard, Chris Paul has yelled at guys. Isaiah Thomas, Rajon Rondo, Mike Conley, you name them, a lot of the point guards who basically put their names out there and was looked at it as a very valuable piece, at one point or another looked at a guy and said, bro, what are you doing? Like, this is what you should be doing. And again, Luka's not dumb. You know, like, he's got a very high IQ. The guy knows what he's doing. So I think Jason Kidd is going to have to give him the authority and the confidence to instill in him. Because remember, Rick Carlisle is not a guy that he likes to be like talked around. You know what I mean? Like, everything has to go through him. Remember what happened with Rondo? Like, when Rondo showed up there, he was trying to change plays. Rick Carlisle was like, okay, what are you doing? You know? So, like, maybe that environment has something to do with it, Chris. But in terms of offense, the only thing Jason Kidd should be doing with Luka is just empowering him and making sure that on the court, he's telling guys where to go and to make sure they actually execute it.
I think Jason Kidd, well, at the end of the day, I think Luka kind of already had that. I think Luka has just enough confidence that he needs to be able to be one of the best players in the NBA, which he already is. So one of the best players of all time. I mean, he has that confidence. He has really he has everything it takes to be one of those players. And I agree with you. I think Jason Kidd can help with giving Luka the sense of how it is to lead a team and like a way to get players that play around him to buy in, not only to Jason Kidd's system, but to Luka's system, how Luka plays, how he operates, and how he wants the team to move. So when you're talking about Kristaps, I honestly liked how in some ways he was kind of like a 3-and-D guy. Because when you have a guy like Kristaps who's that big, you have him play on the wing. What I didn't like is they played him at the 4, or if they had him at the 5, they have Dwight Powell in. That can't be happening.
Dwight Powell shouldn't even be in the starting lineup, in my opinion.
He shouldn't be. And not because I don't think Dwight Powell is good. I think Dwight Powell is a very decent center in the league.
Yes.
It's just there's no reason for Kristaps Porzingis to be playing the 4 or to be sharing the court with someone who can't shoot. Because when you have a guy who's 7'3" and can shoot, the point of that is to open up your offense. You want everyone. So if everyone on the court, if you have Luka, Tim Hardaway, Jalen Brunson, Finney Smith, and Kristaps Porzingis on the court, Finney Smith isn't a great shooter, but he can shoot.
Right.
With the exception of him, everyone else is a shooter. You put everyone else out on the perimeter. You have Kristaps hanging at the top of the key for a possible pick and roll, or dish down to the paint, or come out for a 3. No matter what, it keeps your offense open. So I like what they were doing with Kristaps. The problem with Kristaps is he's not efficient, consistent. And if you're not consistent, you can't be a viable number 2 option. I think the Mavericks, this isn't on topic necessarily, but I think the Mavericks screwed up tremendously in not being more aggressive in getting a number 2 or a number 3 star. I like that they brought back Hardaway Jr. He's a very vital piece to that team. I like that they went out and got Reggie Bullock because he's another very solid 3-and-D player. But Reggie Bullock is not going to move you up in the playoff bracket. Reggie Bullock is not going to get you past the LA Clippers. It's just not going to happen. He doesn't have it in him. No disrespect to Reggie Bullock. He's a great role player. But he's not going to move that needle. I think the Mavericks need to get down. I think Mark Cuban needs to that phone. He needs to start making some calls, and they need to try and bring in another star player, someone who is defensive minded as well because of Luka's limitations. And where I think Jason Kidd can come in, like I've said, the biggest thing for Luka is work ethic in the summer and the off season, and trying to just keep getting better and stronger and quicker. And I think that's going to help a lot.
Okay, well, I want to play this game with you because it is a little off topic, but let me play this game with you. So you said you basically want Mark Cuban to pick up the phone and go get a star, right?
Absolutely.
Who do you think he should get? Because remember, it can't be a guy like a Damian Lillard, or it can't be even a guy like a Jaylen Brown, because the guy you need to get needs to fit the third man role. Because go ahead.
Jaylen Brown would fit that perfectly, but the problem is, if I'm going to answer that question, I need to think of something that's realistic. Because Jaylen Brown, like, ideally, even though I'm a Celtics fan, I know Jaylen Brown would fit perfectly in Dallas because he can take some playmaking away from Luka Doncic. He can shoot and he can defend. He can do everything. Having a guy like that next to Luka Doncic would be amazing. But the problem is Boston, when there's nothing that Dallas has that Boston wants besides Luka. So there's no way the trade like that would happen.
Well, this is where I'll give you a little pushback. If Dallas wants to kind of, I don't want to say blow it up, but if they want to give up on Kristaps, they could send Chris, because I'm a Celtics fan, right? I love Jaylen Brown. I really do. If we could trade him to get a big man which is something, frankly, we have desperately needed for 4 or 5 years now. I mean, that's the only. I'm just saying. I'm playing devil's advocate. Obviously, if I was a GM, I'm not trading Jaylen Brown, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. If we want to make that trade, do you think it would be kind of logical to do a Jaylen Brown for a Kristaps with some picks, or a Kristaps with Reggie, or you know what I mean? Like, would that be logical?
No, because I think Jaylen Brown is a cornerstone player. If the Celtics weren't willing to give up Jaylen Brown in a James Harden deal, they're not going to be willing to do it to get Kristaps some picks and another role player. So there's just no chance of that happening. I don't see Jaylen Brown ever getting traded from Boston unless he wants to be traded. That's the only way that Jaylen Brown would get traded from the Celtics. If the deal, the only way I think the Mavericks, aside from Jaylen Brown, let's put that to rest. The only way I see the Mavericks getting a solidified number 2 star is by trading Kristaps. That's the only piece that a lot of teams are willing to take a flyer on. A team like no one's gonna want if someone's giving up. Let's say the Blazers are giving up CJ McCollum. Let's say the Blazers blow it up like people think that they will.
Mm-hmm.
CJ McCollum, although I don't think he's a great fit, just theoretically,
Right.
the only way that the Blazers would want to do that deal, they wouldn't want to get a guy like Jalen Brunson and Tim Hardaway in a dual package for CJ McCollum with picks. They wouldn't really want that because there's nothing that they can build upon for the future with. If you're tearing it apart, you want draft picks and young assets. Kristaps has been in the league for a while, but he's still a young asset. He's just starting his prime age-wise. Right. Although with his injuries, he might not ever reach that. I think he will. I think he's still going to be fine, but
it's still a conversation you don't know because of the injuries. It's at least a conversation.
Absolutely. And also, too, a guy who I think would fit well in Dallas, Bradley Beal. There's a way to get that deal done around Kristaps because of the fact that Bradley Beal hasn't signed that max extension yet. And
that is true. So that does give him more room.
If Bradley Beal was really knowing that he was staying in Washington, he would have locked up that supermax by now.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So if you're asking me a player that they should go after, if he is available, I say it's Bradley Beal because he's a guy who could actually be available so it's realistic. They could make a package for him, although they would have to dump a lot of draft assets. But I don't think that would matter because you'd be combining Bradley Beal and Luka Doncic,
which is kind of
that's a hell of a tandem right there.
Yeah, I'm a hop on you. There is one guy that I think they should go for. Now, the name I'm gonna say is gonna sound stupid, but just take this ride with me. All right, just take this ride with me. Ben Simmons. The reason I'm gonna say Ben Simmons is because you have a defensive guy that can help with the whole, like Luka's defensive inefficiencies. You have a guy you can run a pick and roll with. And then when Luka wants to take a break, you have someone who can play make. Granted, you are going to lose some shooting, which is, I'm not going to deny that at all. But if you're going to get rid of Kristaps, you might as well see, okay, if we're going to get rid of Kristaps and we're going to get another player, yeah, we're going to lose the shooting, but defensively, we're getting a better player. In terms of playmaking, we're going to get a better player. I mean, rebounding, you can get that to Kristaps, but Ben Simmons isn't a bad rebounder.
No, I'd honestly give it to Ben Simmons because Kristaps last season averaged, 7 rebounds a game?
And I just think the reason is because they always kept him at the 3-point line. I feel like if they moved him in, he could have been in. But, I feel like that one is like a toss-up. You can go either or. And, again, I feel like it'll be a decent fit because then Luka can obviously do his thing, get turned. But then if you need to run a set play, you can just kind of give the ball to Ben Simmons and let Luka kind of relax in a little bit. So that way, again, it could be a stretch, but if you're going to get rid of Kristaps, try to get, Like, it wouldn't be bad to get some of that size back and get a playmaker in the process.
Okay, so I hear where you're coming from. There's a couple issues with this. And I do hear you. I have thought about it. First things first, there's no way in hell Philly would take Kristaps Porzingis to play next to Joel Embiid.
I disagree.
Remember,
this is the same organization who got Nerlens Noel, who got Jahlil Okafor, and they had
That's different.
No. And they wanted to keep all three. So if you can have a 1-2 tandem, I think they'll rock with it.
They said they wanted to keep all three because at the end of the day, when you're in a dumpster fire like the Sixers were back then, you take best player available regardless of position when you're in the draft.
Okay, good point.
That's what you do. And then there's a reason why Nerlens Noel didn't stay in Philly too long. I mean, the reason for Jahlil Okafor not staying in Philly is because he was trashed and he got in a fight, and that looked funny too. He did not know how to fight. But the only you got to also think this is the same team that signed Al Horford 2 off seasons ago, but then traded him because it was a terrible fit because it clogs up their front court. There's no
which is true, but Kristaps is a better shooter than Al Horford.
he is a better shooter than Al Horford, but he's also less mobile and can't guard 4s and 3s nearly as well as Al Horford can.
But again, but if you think about it, if you're giving up Ben Simmons in terms of defense, you're not getting a Ben Simmons defensive player in return. Like,
no, you're not. You're not. You know? But at the end of the day, you're still trying. The reason Ben Simmons hasn't been traded yet is because they still want to be contending for a championship. And a front court with Joel Embiid and Kristaps Porzingis is not getting you to a championship. It's not even going to get you a top 4 seed in the playoffs.
I disagree. I think it'll
wholeheartedly think
it won't be one. I'll tell you this: it won't be the 1 seed. I won't disagree with you. It's not going to be the 1 seed.
It's not going to be the 2. It's not going to be the 3, and it's not going to be the 4.
Who's going to be the 4th then?
Boston, Miami, Milwaukee, Brooklyn.
Okay. You said Miami. All right, let's throw that one out the window because no. With Kristaps and Joel Embiid, they're a top 4 seed.
No.
Yes, they are. Because it'll be the Nets. Just because of continuity, you could put the Bucks there. Then it'll be Boston, and then it'll be Philly. Ain't no way you're gonna look me in my face. So let me guess. So by your logic, then, what is Chicago all of a sudden the top 3 in the East?
No.
Oh, and
that's not debated on my logic though. Miami made it to the championship a year ago without Kyle Lowry and without PJ Tucker.
And Kyle Lowry is whoa. So all of a sudden, PJ Tucker is that much of an impact player?
PJ Tucker is a huge impact player.
Oh my God. He was so much of an impact player that he still could help Houston get to the finals.
Milwaukee, he did, bro. He helped. Are you kidding me? He was one of the biggest parts of that Houston team.
And they didn't even get to the final. Wait, time out. First of all, couldn't even get to the final. And on top of that, there's the same guy going 1 and 2.
You want to know why they didn't get to the finals?
Let me hear it.
They did not get to the finals because of the Golden State Warriors.
Negative.
They did not get to the finals because
they weren't good enough. They just weren't good enough.
Exactly, and that's not on PJ Tucker. That's not on PJ Tucker.
If PJ Tucker was that much of an impact player, he could have pushed him over the hump.
If you take PJ Tucker away from the Bucks last year, they're losing to the Nets in 5 or 6.
Smoking.
No.
Because it's the same PJ. Listen, hold on. Time out. Because I know where you're going to go with this. Because people say that
KD would have averaged 50 a game. KD would have averaged 45 or 50 a game during that series. Look, nobody else is checking him.
And PJ Tucker was doing so great of a job checking him that, bro, listen, there was 2 games KD had off. After that, KD was cooking him. There was 2 games where he was off. And honestly, that was not because of PJ Tucker. That was not because of PJ Tucker. One game, it was because he was trying to do way too much for God knows why. Maybe because he felt he didn't want to rely on James because he wasn't in. There was one game like that. If you want to say 1 out of the 7 games, he held him, okay, fine, whatever, I'll give you that. PJ Tucker's not a needle mover like that. We need to stop that myth right now. He's not a needle mover like that. He's not, because he's the same dude who goes 0 for 3, and all of a sudden he's that much of an impact player. So is Patrick Beverly an impact player too?
Patrick Beverly is not nearly as good of a defender as PJ Tucker at all.
Where did all this hype
Patrick
for PJ Tucker come from?
Russell Westbrook said it best. Pat Beverly is confusing so many people.
No, hold on, whoa.
Patrick Beverly is not that good.
I'm not saying Patrick Beverly is the best guard. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not making that distinction.
I'm not saying, and I'm also not saying PJ Tucker is a top 5, top 10 defender in the league.
But you can't say he's that impactful when he does the same stuff Patrick Beverly does. If you say Patrick Beverly got you fooled, PJ Tucker got dudes tripping right now. He's not that great. He does all this rah-rah stuff and he wears nice shoes, but that doesn't make him a great defender.
No,
he's a solid one.
All right, PJ Tucker is a better defender than Patrick Beverly easily, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason for it is because PJ Tucker can easily guard 1 through 4, and he can still guard 5s. You saw him do it when he was in Houston when they went with the small ball lineup. The small ball lineup was not successful, but it's not because PJ Tucker wasn't able to do his job.
Yes, it was. Look, if you want to say 1 through 4, I'll give you that. He can't guard 5s. He can't guard 5s.
Mark can even guard some 5s.
That's different. No, he can't. No, but
he's giving them.
Hold on, time out.
Moore has given
MVP. Hold on. Are you talking about legit 5s or small ball 5s? Because there's a difference. because
I'm not saying stop them. I'm not saying hold them to under their averages or anything like that. I'm saying he can pass as a defender on a 5.
we're gonna agree to disagree because
Being able to switch like that is huge. So PJ
don't get it twisted. It is.
Beverly can only guard 1 and 2s.
He can guard 3s.
Kind of.
Yeah, he can kind of guard 3s. Look, I'm not saying that Patrick Beverly is better. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is PJ Tucker does a lot of the same. Like when Patrick Beverly just does all this rah-rah stuff, people hype him up for that. Or people say, oh, he's tricking you. PJ Tucker does the same thing. He does the same thing. He's not this phenomenal defender that everyone wants to be. He is a taller version of Patrick Beverly. He does the same thing.
And a better
chats and goes rah-rah, and then occasionally he pulls out some nice shoes.
He's occasionally all right. He comes out with nice shoes every time. Let's be honest.
But yeah, but he'll like. What I mean by that is he'll come out and he'll take them off on the court and put them in front of the screen and be like, "Yo, look at these."
I'm not gonna take this PJ Tucker hatred right now.
It's not hatred. Look, he's a solid player. He's not impactful.
You just cap viciously.
How?
You're saying PJ Tucker doesn't come out with nice shoes every game?
No. I misspoke. What I meant was he always. But there's a once in a while he'll take them off and he'll go to the camera and show them. That's what I meant. He'll sometimes take them off. I misspoke. But all I'm saying, if you want to say PJ Tucker's a good defensive player, I'll let it slide. I don't mind.
He's well above average defensive player.
If you want to say well above average, I'll agree with that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, without him, they're not beating the Nets. No, without him, they were going to because the Nets were injured. Because a healthy Nets team.
Game 7 overtime.
And okay, they went to Game 7 overtime because of the injuries. Huh?
Did PJ Tucker not make them a better team?
I wouldn't go. Not really.
Bugging.
He helped defensively. I'll say that. But to be like, let me ask you a question. With that same PJ Tucker, if either Kyrie or James, just one of them, is healthy, is this Bucks team beating the Nets?
Maybe.
Stephon Gilmore got traded after rumors of him being released. You really just like blew my mind there because I've never seen so much PJ Tucker love. But Stephon Gilmore got traded after rumors of him supposedly being released. They didn't know. Turns out it was just we're gonna release him to try to stoke up some trade rumors, and it worked. They ended up sending the 4-time Pro Bowler to the Carolina Panthers, which definitely surprised me. In return, they got a 2023 6th-round pick. So, Chris, for both teams involved, for the Patriots and the Panthers, is this a good or a bad move?
For the Panthers, it is a fantastic move. And let me tell you why. First off, Stephon Gilmore is from Carolina. So he's going back home where he's comfortable, where he's grown up. He's happy to be there. Them pulling this move almost guarantees them that they're going to be able to bring him back after this if the money works out. But they have a lot of money, so it can work out. For the Patriots, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. If this was their plan all along to trade Stephon Gilmore and not re-sign him, why didn't you trade him a year ago when his value was high? If they traded him a year ago when his value was high, when all these rumors started, they would have been able to get a 1st-round pick. For a former defensive player of the year, they got a 6th-round pick in not this next year's draft, the draft after that. Unless that draft pick turns into a well above average starter player, the Patriots lost this trade tremendously. This trade, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why no one was willing to give over a 6th-round pick for Stephon Gilmore. I don't understand why the Patriots weren't willing to trade him sooner if this was the plan all along. And it pisses me off too because I'm a Falcons fan. I don't want Stephon Gilmore in my division. But the Panthers, let me tell you, they are looking scarier by the second. Sam Darnold, who I have been a fan of ever since he got drafted. Sam Darnold has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback in this league for a decade. This man has the talent. He's a very, very talented player. He can run As you see, he was leading the league in rushing touchdowns. He can run. He can throw the deep ball. He does he can do a lot of things right. Can he try and force the ball a little bit too much? Yes. But with Matt Rule and Joe Brady as his coaches, that's getting fixed out. That's getting fixed. Every single week he's getting better. This team is amazing. And that Panthers secondary looks crazy. When you have Jeremy Chin, when you have Stephon Gilmore, when you have J.C. Horn, they look good. They look very good.
Forgot I was muted. But I just think it's funny. Every single time that Lamar Jackson runs the ball, all of a sudden, oh my God, he's a top 5 running back. But then when Sam Darnold does it, it doesn't matter. I've always never understood the disrespect Sam Darnold always gotten. I think it was because since he got drafted to the Jets, it was a horrible situation. He couldn't make it work. But then again, who could really make that Jets situation work?
He was on the Jets, and Adam Gase was his head coach. You can't do anything about that.
Like you're at this point, you're dead before you get your first breath. You know what I mean?
On another note, Jets never should have traded Sam Darnold, but keep going.
No, I 100% agree with you. I didn't at any point. I'm like you. I've been a Sam Darnold fan. I enjoy him. I always say he could be a top 10 because he makes throws. If you can make throws that only Patrick Mahomes can make, you're in a special category because there are times where he can make those throws, but then, like you said, he forces things. So the next throw is like
yeah.
Him in Carolina, he's starting to fall back on that. He's not forcing it as much, which I like. Not for the trade. And obviously for Carolina, this is a dub because even if they resign him as well, if they end up getting him for like 3 more years after this, there's no player in the 2023 draft with that pick that's going to be better than Stephon Gilmore.
Unless a miracle happens. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, so like they won. They're beefing up. Now they got a legit number 1 to, like you said, their defense, you already went on. Their defense is legit. Ain't no poo-pooing, especially their passing, right? Like
they still have some, I will say they still have some holes in the trenches on both sides of the ball on their offensive and defensive line. But I mean, they have some foundational pieces. You got Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Derek Brown. Those are 3 defensive players on Carolina, all under 24, who can definitely be all-pro players.
Yep. And like Greg said, they're running, like you said, they're running like the trenches. That's going to be an issue, but in terms of the passing, they'll be good. And on top of that, learning from Stephon Gilmore, that's a great. Now for the Patriots, I am a Patriots fan. This move confused me. Now I'm not gonna say that we completely lost.
Oh,
but it's a head scratching move because, okay, if we cut him, we would have gotten nothing. At least we got something, but at the same time, it's confusing because was this the goal all along? Like, were we never gonna bring him back? Like, it's almost as if Bill Belichick went into this Tampa Bay game and was like, if we get blown out, we're bringing him here. If we can survive without him, he could take a hike. That's the vibe I'm getting from this because, like, all through training, mind you, I've been listening to this for a while, and through training camp, both sides were like, yeah, we want to make it work. We want to make it work. And my thing was, I have no issues with it. You know, a guy's going to want more money. They're coming to an organization who, especially with Bill Belichick, more times than not, tend to be a little stingy with money. But then I also get Stephon Gilmore's side because the free agent that just passed, Bill Belichick stole everyone's stimmy and went bonkers for no reason whatsoever. So it's like, I understood both sides. I thought eventually it was going to get hashed out. But then they were like, oh, yeah, you know, we're on the horn and we're trying to trade him. I was like, why weren't you guys trying to trade him before? I mean, if this really was the goal, because now there was rumors, oh, yeah, we're going to release him. So it's like, why am I going to trade you for something now when in 2 days you're going to let him go and I have a better chance at signing him as a free agent than I do trading for him? Yeah, and like I said, we got something, But at the same time, the move in and of itself is just bizarrely confusing because, like you said, if this was always the end goal, why didn't you trade him last year? Matter of fact, forget that. If this was the end goal, why didn't you just trade him in the offseason? Why wait till now to be like, okay, yeah, we can let you go now? Because it's like you could have gotten more back then. But at the same time, it's almost as if they were like, okay, let's see how the week plays out. Their defense has been like solid, but this is a great day for J.C. Jackson because come offseason, he's gonna get paid because now he's their number one. He's gonna get paid because ain't no way you're gonna let Stephon Gilmore go if you don't have that much, if you don't have confidence at all in J.C. Jackson, Chris.
Well, I'll put it to you like this: couple things, and they kind of tie in together. I think you are 100% wrong in the fact that you think the Patriots didn't completely lose this trade. The reason for that being is that the signs were there. I mean, there were rumors that he put his house up on the market in June or July.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, a player's on the move.
Well, no. Because Tom did that like 4 times. Tom has done that like 4 or 5 times. LeBron did that when he came back. When he went back to Cleveland, when they came down 3-1, he did that. So,
LeBron also bought a property in LA when he left Cleveland to go to LA.
Right, but what I'm saying, just if a player sells his house where he lives, that doesn't in and of itself mean the trade. Because
it doesn't.
Even though that was happening, Stephon was saying he wanted to stay.
But it's definitely a sign. Stephon Gilmore. If Stephon Gilmore wanted to stay,
mm-hmm.
I disagree. I think selling your home is more of a sign than you think. Some players do it when they're not saying that they're going to leave or anything like that. Sometimes some players just do it. With Stephon Gilmore, it looks like this was the case. And if the Patriots were so reluctant to release him or trade him for a 6th-round pick, that means Stephon Gilmore wanted out and there was no chance of him wanting to re-sign with the team. So they didn't want to. So because of that, they didn't want to pay the rest of his year's salary, so they were just going to release him. But then they found out the Panthers wanted him, so they got a 6th-round pick for him. The Patriots completely lost this trade because they were refusing to acknowledge the obvious. Stephon Gilmore, for over a year now, has been asking for a raise on his current salary when he saw Jalen Ramsey got the extension he got. Mm-hmm. When he saw even Shaquille Griffin, the contract he got. I mean, they're getting paid almost the same amount of money, and Shaquille Griffin is an average cornerback in this league.
Right. Of course. No, I understand. But
the signs were there. Stephon Gilmore wanted out. Honestly, I don't even know if Stephon Gilmore is that hurt right now. There's been a lot of rumors that Stephon Gilmore has been holding out and they've been keeping it quiet.
I mean, that's a possibility. If
all the signs point to what I look at as the obvious, in that Stephon Gilmore didn't want to be in New England anymore because they couldn't amend the situation. I think the reason New England kept on him was because they were stubborn and they thought, no, there's definitely a way we can fix this situation. They waited way too long up until the point where they couldn't get any value for him, so they had to settle with a 6th-round pick. The reason they completely lost this is because when these signs were first being indicated, they could have traded him for a 1st-round pick, maybe even more.
Yes, but at the same time, before the first week of the NFL regular season, up until that point, Stephon Gilmore was saying, I want to stay. He at no point ever said, oh, I want out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. He at no point did he ever say any of that. He was always willing to negotiate. The only thing he wanted, he was like, look, you guys don't have to pay me Jalen Ramsey money. You guys don't gotta do that. Just give me a pay bump. If you give me a pay bump, I'll be fine.
Well, he wanted a pay bump and a contract extension.
Yes, and that contract extension, yes.
I think he deserved, but the Patriots knew they weren't going to do it because if they did think they were going to do it, what changed from then to now for them to not want to do it anymore?
I mean, maybe, but this is where I'm going. It's perhaps maybe he just stopped talking to them. Because here's the thing. After the first week of the regular season, I have not heard a peep about this situation. Everyone has been quiet about it. So that leads me to believe where probably Stephon Gilmore was like, look, if I don't get a deal by the first week of the NFL regular season, I'm done. Maybe that's what was happening. It got there, and he was like, okay, I'm done. My thing is, look, the reason I'm not saying they full-blown lost, they got something. They got something, especially when they were on the doorstep of releasing him. Again, a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback who could be the number one corner on like what? You want to say what? 25, 28 teams at least? He's a top 5 corner hands down. So it's like they got something. Again, it's not a lot. And again, I'm not going to call it a win, but I'm not calling it a win either. I'm not calling it a win. It's just confusing.
It's a complete loss.
A complete loss would have been releasing him and getting nothing.
But all the Patriots were able to succeed in doing this is they get a 6th-round pick, which has very little value. I mean, Christ, the Jets gave up a 6th-round pick to get Shaq Lawson.
Well, hold on. But for New England, that 6th-round pick could potentially be something. This is a team that
I'm a huge Bill Belichick fan, and I can say Bill Belichick has not done well in the draft in the past 3 years.
I agree with that. I agree with that. The past three years have been no Belichick worthy. They've been tough,
but they haven't been great. So all the Patriots succeed in doing is getting a 6th-round pick and freeing up money that would have been off the books at the end of the season for Stephon Gilmore, who was a Defensive Player of the Year, 3 years ago?
Yes. I want to say yes. I want to say it was 3 years ago. Which, again,
that's terrible.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Look.
There's no happiness. There's no, oh my God, we did. There's nothing. There's nothing good. There's nothing good about this situation for the Patriots. It is a complete loss.
Let me ask you a question. What's worse, getting $20 or getting no dollars? What's worse?
You know the answer to that question, but it doesn't matter because
it does, because you can't call it a complete loss if we got something. Look, again, let me reiterate this. In no way, shape, or form am I saying this is a win. I am not making that at all. I just need to reiterate that. This is not a win in terms of the trade. This is not a win at all because, frankly, if it was up to me, we would have kept Stephon. Because you're going to make an argument. Well, not really the argument. It was the fact he was our best player.
But Stephon didn't want to be there. And like you said before, you said something about a doorstep, and the Patriots were at the door, and they had to get something. They shouldn't have been at that fucking doorstep.
Which I agree. They should have had the deal for him
at that doorstep. They should have him earlier. And at the end of the day, too, the Patriots, they've been in a position. They're like the Spurs. They've been in a position where they've been in Super Bowl contention for 2 decades. You got to know when it's time to tear it down. And you don't need to completely tear things down. But like in the same way that the Spurs should probably get rid of either Derek White or DeJounte Murray to make a trade, or the same way they should have traded DeMar DeRozan before the offseason, the Patriots should have traded Stephon Gilmore at the height of his value because he does not fit in with long-term plans. The Patriots, I think the Patriots are probably the best 1-3 team in football, which doesn't say much, but I think the Patriots can still get a wild card spot. I think they are a playoff-worthy football team. Do I think they will be contending for a Super Bowl within the next 3-4 years? No, I do not think they will be, because
I think the soonest we can contend, and this is just assuming everything goes perfectly, all the stars align, I think 5 years. And like I said, that's if all the planets align and everything goes out. Mac Jones all of a sudden looks like a top 5 guy. That's really the only way I can see it. But other than that, this is a long-term rebuild.
And regardless of Stephon Gilmore wanting an extension or the Patriots being able to extend him regardless, would you extend Stephon Gilmore knowing that he's 31 years old and you won't be competing for a Super Bowl for another 4 years? No. You're going to trade him. You're going to get as many assets as you can. You're going to turn that first-round pick, who will be entering in his prime by the time you guys get to that time.
Yeah, which again, do I don't think this is the best deal in the world. I'm not disagreeing with that. My thing is, we got something. We got something.
If you're happy with that, you're happy with that.
But what choice do I have? What choice do I? Because again, look, based on where we are right now, we would have released them and got nothing. So look, beggars can't be choosers, right? Like we basically was like, he went 0 dark 30. He was like, y'all don't want to give me a deal. It is what it is. I'm a rehab and I'm gonna do my thing after that. Get rid of me. It is what it is. All I'm saying, we got something. I'm not calling it a win. Like I said, I'm calling this a confusing deal at best. Like, this is very perplexing on why they waited this long, but I can't call it a total loss because we got something.
I agree you got something, but at the end of the day, beggars can't be choosers, but you guys shouldn't have had to be beggars. And we'll leave it at that.
I agree with you there. We shouldn't have. If we knew we weren't going to sign him, we should have traded him before. We should have traded him before week 1. I agree with you there. Why they didn't trade him, I don't know, but that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
Bottom line.
Speaking of someone who needed a long conversation, that boy Urban Meyer. It's kind of funny. He came in the league, and so did Trevor Lawrence, right? Trevor Lawrence is this young kid. He's so young, no one is going to know how he's going to handle things. He's acting the way Urban Meyer should be acting, and Urban Meyer is acting the way that Trevor Lawrence should be acting. It's funny. My guy, Urban Meyer, he was living his best life. Now, everyone in that organization seems to turn their back on him. Is it possible that Urban Meyer will not finish this year with Jacksonville, Chris?
In my eyes, I think there's no chance in hell that they fire Urban Meyer during the season. I think there's absolutely no way. I think they believed in him so much that they gave him a very large contract for a first-time NFL coach, which is fact.
Yep.
A long contract, 5 years for a first-time NFL coach, regardless of college success, because everyone knows being as a player or a coach for anything,
college is different.
College doesn't always translate to the NFL.
Yep.
It's most true in football than it is in almost any other sport. And they believed in him enough to give him that contract for 5 years for however much money it was. I know it was a lot. I don't think because it almost never happens that you get a first-year head coach that gets fired in his first year. That just doesn't happen. And I do think this is a dumpster fire. I don't think Urban Meyer is going to be there for his whole contract, but I don't see him getting fired during the season. It just wouldn't make sense. You'd be having your number 1 draft pick, Trevor Lawrence, having a complete offseason and building a relationship with a head coach that it seemed that he was happy to be with, and then just getting rid of him after an 0-4 start, or let's say they do it mid-season or even 12 weeks in. It just wouldn't make sense. You got to let them at least give them somewhat of a chance to make things better. Do I think it will get that much better? No. But do I think they're going to fire him? I don't think they will fire Urban Meyer until after his second season. And that's if it's going as bad as it is right now.
I genuinely don't know what they're going to do with this dude. And it's weird because have you seen the video of him getting turned in that bar with that girl, Chris?
Urban Meyer?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
I've seen that.
It's a little. I'm not playing it. I don't have it. I made sure because it will get us canceled.
Is it creepy?
I'm gonna put it to you this way. This might be a little excessive. My guy, dare I say, was close fucking this girl.
Ooh.
Yeah. This dude was getting action, bro. He's getting more action than me, my guy. This dude is like over 55 years old with a whole family. He's getting action like that, right? It's to the point now, Chris. They're having meetings behind his back. Let me ask you this question. When is the last time we've seen any organization, regardless of the sport, have meetings of like meetings without the head coach present?
Players meetings. That's about it.
Right? Like, that's really it. Like, when they go like that, and it's usually the leader goes up to the coach, and he goes, look, for instance, a couple years back when Ty Lue, he was the coach for Cleveland, LeBron was like, yo, we're having a team meeting, go do something. And then they had the team meeting, but the coach knew. They're having these things they're having meetings without him. I want to play you a clip from the apology because they pressed him after the game against the Bengals. They pressed him. So I'm going to give you a quick snippet of the apology he gave out.
I just apologize to the team and the staff and for being a distraction. It's stupid. And so I explained everything that happened and owned it, and, just stupid. Should not have myself in that kind of position.
So when asked, why were you, in that area, he said he was to visit his grandchildren. Go ahead.
That was about him dancing with the girl?
Yes. So, yeah. Okay. So take this out with me, Chris, because this is an unpopular opinion. I feel like the Jags are blowing this out of proportion. I swear to God, I've never in my life seen a coach just be chilling, relaxing, living his best life. He was dancing with another female, consensual. So it's not like he was just a creepy old guy who just went up and just everyone was having fun. And now they're talking about, yeah, bro, we don't know if we want him anymore.
I don't think that's why they don't want him.
Right. Like this is my thing.
That's not why they don't want him. The reason they don't want him is because
it has to be the success of the team. It's got to be the whole Trevor Lawrence thing.
They're 0-4.
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence isn't playing well. The play calling hasn't been good. James Robinson's being underutilized. The whole Tim Tebow fiasco. There's more than a few reasons of why they should want to fire Urban Meyer, regardless of who he's dancing with at a club, as creepy or not good as it is. But at the end of the day, though, they have a right to be in some ways not happy about it because he's the head coach of their football team. He represents that team, and he's a role model to his players. His players are supposed to look at him as a role model and as someone to lead them. And if you got this dude at a club, basically, like you said, clothes fucking this chick, like it's not a good representation of the team. The owners aren't going to be happy about it, and the players are going to respect them less.
Yeah, before I forget, I misspoke. It wasn't a club. It was at his family's restaurant. Which I don't know if that makes it even better. Yeah, I don't know. I think that makes it even weirder.
It's a lot weirder.
Right? So, but this is what I think it all comes down to. When Urban Meyer was first hired, he already came on thin ice. Yeah, a lot of the organization liked him. Mr. Khan, who owns the team, kind of was like, I don't know, but everyone loves him, so why not? I'll give him a chance. All the players did not like him. This is something people don't really they either don't bring up or anything like that. But when he came in, a lot of the players were like, we don't know. And then he drafted, obviously they were going to get Trevor Lawrence, but I can never say his name right. Etienne. Yes. They drafted him, and a lot of people in that locker room was like,
draft pick.
I said the same thing because I'm like, you have James Robinson, who's a 1,000-yard rusher, and I understand the connection with him and Trevor Lawrence, but I'm like, bro, you have a starting caliber running back. Why, like, I don't understand the logic behind that. What I think is going on, Urban Meyer has been making a lot of questionable decisions his entire tenure here. It hasn't been long, but the entire tenure. What I think happened is with this whole incident with, however they want to label it. This is just an excuse for the players who don't like him already. Now, I'm not saying the whole locker room doesn't like him, but a good amount of them don't really vibe with him, whatever the case may be.
That's what
this is just kind of their excuse to kind of just come out and be like, see, we told you. So now there's kind of dissension. So I think that's why the front office is really tight. Not really because he was just living his best life. I think they're more mad because it's like, bro, you already came in here on thin ice. Some players don't really rock with how you were handling things. You're kind of giving them ammo. What are you doing? You know what I mean, Chris? Like that's just how I'm looking at it.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think he makes it through the season?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And the only reason I say I don't know is because he apologized to the players. This all really comes down as to whether the players aren't going to give up on him. Because if you start seeing these dudes start like half-assing it in the games and kind of coming out and he's like looking down, if it's to the point where he's like Jason Garrett and he's kind of just like clapping and they're all walking by him, I don't think he'll last. I genuinely don't, because
Jason Garrett lasted how long? What, 7 years? Well,
again, that's Jerry Jones had this weird infatuation with Jason Garrett, because he was there. But Mr. Khan doesn't have that same infatuation with Urban Meyer, which is why I think maybe, again, I don't know. I think it'll all really come down to how the players react. And if the players say, you know what, we don't care, let's just play for each other, then I don't think he'll be fired this season. Will he be fired? Like you said, if he doesn't get fired this season, he's already going to be on the hot seat, because now they're going to look to next season and say, okay, look, this season was a horribly disaster. It was disastrous. Mm-hmm. Worse than what we thought it would be. There's certain things you can do. For instance, the play calling. We're going to have to switch that up. We're going to have to get James Robinson the ball more. We're going to have to start doing these things where if we're not winning, fine, but we need to see some type of step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And if they don't see it, they're going to get rid of him. And they're going to have to find a head coach quick, because, look, if the organization doesn't get it together, why are the players going to get it together? You know what I mean? Like, especially a young guy, he's going to be like, bro, if young guys ain't going to figure it out, I'll go somewhere else where they do got to figure it out, whether y'all like it or not. You know what I mean, Chris?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. And the biggest thing for me is with Urban Meyer, or really with the whole situation, is if I'm the Jags owner, if I'm the Jags GM, I'm thinking to myself, we brought this guy in to start a culture here in Jacksonville, a culture that hadn't been here for a while, maybe even ever.
Mm-hmm. And I think the best culture they probably had was
in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, and even then, that really wasn't culture. That was more like we have a great defense, and
that's just having one of the best defenses of the decade.
Right, and that was just that wasn't a culture. That was just them having fun and winning and whatnot. Because after that year, they started losing. Jalen Ramsey was there. He didn't look happy, and you can kind of see him kind of be a little.
It all fell apart.
Yep.
If I'm the Jags GM or if I'm the Jags owner, I'm thinking to myself, we brought this coach in to start a foundational culture. And if he's not doing it, and if he's in fact taking away from it, that's a huge issue. And although I do not think they will fire him after this season or during the season, they very well could fire him after this season or sometime during next season or the following offseason. And when you have a guy like Trevor Lawrence there, and they have some foundational young pieces. Also, them trading CJ Henderson was absolutely stupid. I thought that was
I didn't understand that at all.
I didn't understand it either, because CJ Henderson, I don't think he's the second best corner out of that class, like where he was drafted. I think my guy AJ Terrell's better than him. I think Trayvon Diggs is better than him.
But he's still a very valuable piece that he's still starting caliber corner.
I was going to say, but he's still a second-year corner who didn't play atrociously last year, when corner is one of the hardest positions to come in as a rookie and play well at.
Yep.
He did not play bad. And they also need youth on that team. They need foundational pieces. But regardless of that, they need someone who's going to set a foundational culture. And if Urban Meyer isn't going to do it, there is a head coach out there that would love to do it, because the Jags, coming into last offseason, they were one of the hottest spots to be at if you're a head coach, because they had the number one pick, knowing you're going to get Trevor Lawrence. They got some guys, and they got a lot of draft picks to use. So I don't think Urban Meyer is going to be their long-term head coach. I think someone will be. I just don't know who it is or when it will be, but I'm guessing it'll be within the next 1 to 2 years.
Yeah, at this point, it just kind of seems like they're just waiting for the head coaching pool to fill up a little bit, so that way they could try to make a play for somebody. And at this point, it just seems like Urban Meyer is just like a bridge. And it's crazy because, bro, we're not even halfway through the season, and it already feels like this organization is like giving up on him because, like, again, every time I can coach this team better than him, and it's atrocious because, like, a lot of the stuff he's doing is questionable at best. So,
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But speaking of interesting, in case you guys can't see this, the Boston Red Sox, we beat the Yankees 6-2. Baby, this is our time. Me and Chris, we Red Sox fans. This is our time to get sloppy, to get juicy with it, bro. Because we smacked the bejesus out of them, bro. 6-2, bro. And by the way, for all you Yankees fans, I just want to, Chris, if you indulge me, I just want to get one quick opportunity to, vent out real quick because I seen a lot of Yankees fans, right? Mad, crybabies about it, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. They're the Boston Red Sox. They're look at the fans. They're crying. Let me say this right now, bro. If you're mad we won, you're a dummy. Okay? First and foremost, because we're the better team. There's no and ifs or buts about it. We're the better team. That's one. Two, the reason we're so, and I'm gonna say it again, we're the better team. Period. Number two, the reason we're so excited that we won, first and foremost, it's a playoff game. If you Yankees fans tell me y'all wasn't going to get excited if you guys beat us, you're lying to yourself. So that's number two. Number three, we are division rivals. There's no greater stake at two division rivals, which is the most historic rivalry in all of baseball. New York Yankees and all the sports, right?
Yankees, Red Sox, York Yankees, biggest rivalry in all sports.
Exactly. So the Yankees and Red Sox in the playoffs? You're telling me there's no hype up, there's no emotion? Three, you put your best pitcher out there. Hold on, did I already say three? Let's go four. Whatever. We don't know how to count, but it don't matter. As long as I can count to six, my guy. That's what we're here for. Number four, y'all put your best pitcher out there. Bro, he couldn't even make it 3 innings. We was giving him blacatazo, bro. He gave up 2 home runs before he could do anything, bro. Come on. I don't want to hear about anything about that. I am happy. Listen, as a Red Sox fan, I can admit this. We shouldn't be here.
No, we should not.
And this is something that a lot of people don't understand because we are rebuilding. There were people who said at best we were going to be 4th in the division. They had us under Toronto, under Tampa, and under the Yankees. We were supposed to be 4th.
We were worse than that. We were expected to be 4th in the division, and we were expected to get maybe 70 wins.
Exactly. Like we were supposed to be an under 500 team.
We are not supposed to be here. That's why when you said we are the better team than the Yankees, I kind of was taken back a little bit because the Yankees have a better bullpen. They got a better starting staff. And I don't know if their lineup is as good as ours, but they got better names in it.
100%. And look, the name. Listen. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
We've got a very solid lineup. The only reason I say our lineup is better is because we have more guys that get on base consistently, which I think the Yankees right now, in my eyes, they're almost a dumpster fire. They're going downhill quick because Gary Sanchez didn't work out. Stanton finally got hot, but at a time where they needed him to get hot 2 years ago when they actually had a chance of going to the World Series.
Yep.
Aaron Judge is going to be looking for an extension very soon. Wait, no, did he already get his extension?
I want to say yes.
He might have gotten his extension, but regardless, Aaron Judge came up into the league when he was 24, 25. At this point, he's 28. He's going to be getting close to the end of his prime within the next 4 or 5 years. DJ LeMahieu isn't playing as good as he did last year. Gleyber Torres had a huge down year. Garrett Cole's only getting older. And Brian Cashman, who I think is a good GM, has been making some very questionable moves. I mean, keeping Clint Frazier to not even really play is very stupid because when you look back at it, Clint Frazier was a very highly regarded prospect that they got in the Andrew Miller trade. And when they got him, he was looked at to be a 300 hitter hitting in their 3-hole for the next decade. And then he comes up into the system. Granted, he's not quite as good as everyone thought he would be, but they could have traded him and gotten more assets. I mean, and when you get to the deadline and you got guys that are around like Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, I mean, Javi Baez, the list goes on. Guys that can hit for average and for power. You go out and get Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo, guys who hit around or under 250 and strike out a lot. Granted, Rizzo doesn't strike out a whole lot. That's not a terrible move. But you already have Luke Voit.
Well, at the time, this is where I justified it.
At the time, he was hurt, but at the end of the day, he wasn't hurt for that much longer. He was hurt for another maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then he came back, and then they didn't even know what to do with him. Joey Gallo has hit. I think he hit under 2. He hit under 200 in his time with the Yankees for this season,
which blew my mind.
And the problem with the Yankees lineup is they have so many power hitters that already strike out on a consistent basis. Yep. Guys who don't get on base as much as you want them to. You need to balance out that lineup with guys that can get on base. And I just don't know if they'll be able to do it. And let's not even get started about how terrible of a manager Aaron Boone is. He's atrocious.
100% he is. And look, I'm not a fan of the Yankees at all, right? But this is the question I've been asking them because I think this is a question we need to ask. Because every time you ask a Yankees fan, what's going on, they tell you some stuff that's going on, and then they always go back to that 27. I believe it was the 2017. Yeah, I think it was like 2017, maybe the 2018 season, where they went on the amazing ride and they lost to Houston, and they were like, "Oh, if Houston wasn't cheating, we would have been fine." Here's the question I've been asking, and no one answers this question: is it possible that year was the anomaly, and that the Yankees that we see is who they really are? Is it possible that maybe they went, that was their 1 year, and now you see a team that, granted, isn't dog. This team is not dog shit, right? Like they're a solid playoff team. Is it possible that this is their true glass ceiling, and that year that they went on that wild Cinderella race, isn't it possible that was the anomaly, Chris?
No, I don't think it's possible. I mean, I guess I'd be naive to say it's not possible at all, but I don't think that's the case because at the end of the day, they do still have talent. It's just moving forward, I don't know if they can be a legit World Series contender unless they go into classic Yankee fashion and break the bank on every top free agent they can get. But looking back to the last 4 or even 5 years, let's say 4, the Yankees have had some good teams, and they've had the pieces to be able to make those teams even better. They have been a scary team for a while now. No one really no one's excited to play the Yankees, not even the Red Sox, not even in 2018 when the Red Sox were the best team by far in the MLB and we won the World Series. Shout out to Mookie.
Yes, sir.
Nathan Eovaldi. But even in that time, I did not want to face the New York Yankees. And it's because they have pieces. They're a scary team to face. And when they're hot, they are hot. I just think Brian Cashman has messed up in, first off, getting rid of Joe Girardi to get Aaron Boone. That was a terrible move. And then also, too, surrounding this lineup with even more power hitters who can't get on base, not investing in starters earlier. And also, Garrett Cole, there's no question about it. He's a bona fide ace. I know we shelled him last night, and he didn't play well, and he doesn't play well. He doesn't play that well when he's in Fenway. Not saying he torches the Red Sox every time we play him because he's pitched well against us before. But in Fenway, he does struggle. But giving him a 9-year contract that's going to be paying him north of $40 million when he's 39 years old or 38 years old, that's not what you do.
The only thing I can think of is that they did that because they want to keep him. And when he no longer has the stamina to be a starting caliber pitcher, they're going to put him coming out the bullpen. Because there's no way that has to be, because there's no way you're going to give this guy 9 years and expect him to be a starting pitcher all 9 years. There's no way.
No, I'll one up you. There's no way you pay a guy $40 million a year to eventually go into your bullpen. Name me one player. Name me one closer, one reliever that gets paid starter money.
But what choice? But the thing is like they've always been closers. You see what I'm saying? This dude, I mean, why else would you give him 9 years when
it's because,
logically thinking this dude is not going to be there all 9 years unless you're trying to outbid everybody else?
I mean, he could be. But at the end of the day, my point is he's not going to be the same Garrett Cole we're looking at today at the end of that contract, and that's going to affect them dramatically when they're trying to get better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's going to be hard to get better when you got $40 million tied up in a guy who's 39, who's starting to get gray hair.
Yeah, this is probably like a take that nobody really is going to agree with me. It's going to be my own hot take. Garrett Cole is nothing more than a glorified number 2. I've been consistent with saying this.
You're bugging.
Hold on. Just take this walk with me. Take this walk with me.
I'll take a walk with you, but I might run in the other direction after.
And that's fine. You can. I'm saying this right now. I have seen enough in Pittsburgh. He was not that guy. He goes to Houston. Again, I'm not saying that he was a number 4 guy. But this ace that everyone thought he wasn't like that in Pittsburgh. He was a solid rotational guy. He was. But nobody called him an ace until he got to Houston. Ironically, when he got to Houston, who did he meet? He met that dude from the Angels who was giving him the sticky stuff. All I'm saying is that ironic he got that sticky stuff and all of a sudden was considered to be a phenomenal pitcher, right? He goes to New York, then they crack down on it, and all of a sudden the guy does not look like how he looked like in Houston. And it's only been, 2 years? 2-3 years?
Let me tell you this. You're wrong in that Garrett Cole wasn't looked at as an ace when he was in Pittsburgh.
And not a single soul said he was an ace in Pittsburgh. And I will die on my sword in that. Not a single soul said he was an ace in Pittsburgh. You could have said he was a number 2 at best. He was like a 2-3 guy.
There was 2 years, because you got to think he got.
By the way, before I forget, Aaron Judge, he won't be a free agent until 2023. He's got 1 more year of
arbitration,
which to me is the dumbest thing.
Yeah,
I've never understood that, because you got to be
to help these players out more. But that's
they do, because you got to be with the same team for 6 years. Like I never before you can 7. Yeah, like you got to be with them. Like it's weird, but yeah, he won't.
Terrible for the players, because you got some of these guys get brought up when they're 24, 25. Those 7 years, they get to be 30, 31, sometimes even 32. And at the end of the day, when you're that old, how many teams are going to want to give those guys? Sometimes their best years are earlier in their careers when they first get brought up. And there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to test free agency after, let's say, 3 or 4 years like the NFL or the NBA, and actually be able to get a big contract when they're starting their prime. But that's a whole different topic. The topic right now is that you're wrong. Garrett Cole was considered an ace when he was in Pittsburgh. The reason you think he isn't is because at the end of his tenure in Pittsburgh, he was hurt, and the year he came back and started pitching when he was healthy in his last year in Pittsburgh, he wasn't pitching well because he was getting acclimated. He had been injured, on and off injuries, for over 1.5 to 2 years. When he finally got fully healthy was when he went to Houston. And I think part of what helped him was, let's say you can say sticky stuff, whatever the case may be, he was pitching with an all-time pitcher, a future first ballot Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander, and he was able to learn a lot from that guy. Go back and look at the numbers of Garrett Cole when he was in Pittsburgh. There was at least 2 years when he was an ace caliber player. Him and Sonny Gray were looked at as probably the 2 best young pitchers in the league.
And not a single soul would have taken him over Sonny Gray. And I would die on this too. At the time. I'm not saying now, because now Sonny Gray, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not trash, but he's not living up to the expectations that he should have been.
But it's the same. They had the same trajectory, though, both of which had 2 very good years when they were looked at as aces in the league and would be aces for years to come. Keep in mind, before they turned 25, and then They both get injury. They both have injuries that fuck them up for a year or two, and then they get shipped off. And in both of those trades, the Yankees and the Astros gave up a lot of prospects to get both of them. A team's not going to give up a lot of prospects to get a player if he's not going to be considered an ace.
Well, hold on. The Yankees got that. Like they went and got that when he was with Houston, which is when he made his name, so to speak.
No, I'm saying Houston, the Yankees and Houston, like when the Yankees got Sonny Gray and when Houston got Garrett Cole, both teams when the Yankees got Sonny Gray, they gave up a lot of prospects, top tier prospects as well. When the Astros went and got Garrett Cole, they gave up a lot of prospects, solid prospects. You're not doing that unless you're getting a quality starter who can be an ace.
All right.
And
so
also when Garrett Cole goes to Houston, he was no question an ace. No question.
No, he wasn't. Because the last No, because the year before he went there, people were saying they were taking a chance because the dude was looking like dog shit before he went.
That's what I'm saying. In his last year in Pittsburgh, he wasn't looking good. He wasn't dog shit. His ERA.
His last year. His final year.
Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna read you the stats. I'm reading the stats. Hold on. I'm about to read you the stats of his entire tenure in Pittsburgh before he went. So in 2013, he went 10-7, 3.22 ERA, which not bad. 117 innings pitched. You said what?
That's an ace. If you're pitching,
but you can't say that if the guy's only the guy only pitched 117 innings. Part of being an ace, you need to give me outings. That's why. Listen, as much as I love Nathan Eovaldi, I will never call Nathan Eovaldi an ace, ever. And that's because
because of all these never put up numbers like that.
But he has the stuff to put it up. He just can't go 7-8 innings. Which is why I'm not going to call him an ace.
But he's had Tommy John twice. It's different with
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you had Tommy John twice, it sucks, and that's a part of the game. And I'm not going to say that and give him an excuse, and then still in the same breath call him an ace. If you but you got to admit, going the distance matters to be an ace.
It definitely matters. And that's why Garrett Cole is an ace, because since he was injury prone in Pittsburgh, he hasn't been injury prone since. He's had a few here and there injuries, but at the end of the day, he's put together some really complete seasons, and he's been in Cy Young contention for 3 or 4 straight years.
And you can be in Cy Young contention and not be an ace.
Not true.
Yes, it is. What are you talking about?
There's outliers like Rick Porcello winning the Cy Young that one year.
That's what I'm saying. You can be in contention or you can be in contention or win it without being an ace. Because when Rick Porcello won it, not a single soul was saying that he was this phenomenal all-world. Like nobody ever said he was an ace. And you know what I mean? Like, but hold on. But before we finish,
let me finish this. But Garrett Cole was in Cy Young contention for 3 to 4. He's in Cy Young contention right now. He might win Cy Young over Robbie Ray.
But that doesn't mean you're an ace, is my point.
It does if you do it on a consistent basis. And he's been consistently doing it for the past 4 years. If you're in Cy Young contention, which is being one of the best pitchers in baseball, the best pitcher in your respective league, if you're doing that for 4 straight years, you are an ace. Bottom line, you cannot name me. You can't even name me 20 pitchers that are better than Garrett Cole in the MLB right now. You can't even name me 15.
I will take Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, Lance Lynn.
No. You cannot do Noah Syndergaard. You cannot do Noah Syndergaard.
I just did. So that's 5. So I already have 5. I'll take Shohei Ohtani. Are you going to tell me I'll take Shohei Ohtani over him?
All right. No, you cannot talk about being injury prone takes away from being an ace when this has been Ohtani's first year being able to consistently pitch.
No. Now you're switching it up. I didn't say being injury prone will take you out of it. If your injury is going to make you like not be able to do full innings, it's gonna matter. If you're a starting pitcher and you're only giving me 5 innings, I'm not gonna call you an ace. If you can have Tommy John surgery 15 times. If you can go out there and give me 7, 8 innings, I'm not gonna complain. And Shohei Ohtani can give me that.
Garrett Cole does that all the time. You're pissing me off because you're making me defend Garrett Cole right now, and I don't want to be doing that.
No. But you're doing it yourself.
But you're not giving him the man his credit.
Listen, I'm saying he's a number 2. At what point is being a number 2 that bad? You're acting like I'm saying, he's at best a guy who he's like a Domingo Herman, a guy who can only come in if you discipline. No, he's a number 2. I don't think that's wrong to say because especially this year, the guy has gotten lit up a lot. He's gotten lit up a lot.
He has a 3.2 ERA in the American League, let alone the AL East, which is a great division for hitting.
He's got a 3.2 ERA, and he went 16-8 though,
with over 200 strikeouts. Your record does not have a whole lot to do with how good of a pitcher you are. It has to do with the team.
Record doesn't mean nothing. So records don't mean nothing.
I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything, but Jacob deGrom is going to go down as one of the best pitchers of all time because he has 3 Cy Youngs, and he hasn't. They've pulled the stats for Jacob deGrom.
That's different because Jacob deGrom is losing 1-0s. He's losing when the other team scores once.
Garrett Cole's never done that.
Garrett Cole's getting lit up. Wait, are you telling me last night was the first time he got lit up this season?
No, it's not the first time, but I'm saying
that's what I want to do. All I'm saying. Let me go back to
it happens. It's like a consistent problem.
It happens more than people want to admit, which is why I'm saying he's a number 2.
Chris Sale at his best would get lit up.
Smoking because Chris Sale just came back from Tommy John and he had like four wins in a row.
Did he not just get lit up against the Nationals?
1 time out of 4. How many times has this dude gotten lit up?
Against the Nationals?
Which okay, I will give you that. That's a bad one. That's a bad one, and I'm not gonna disagree with that. And I'm gonna say that Chris Sale gotta wear that one. He's gotta wear that one. That's an L for him. He's gotta wear it, and he's gotta come out and say, hey, I didn't have my best up. I'm not gonna argue that matters. All I'm saying, you're gonna look. All I'm saying is you can't sit there and say that. Look, Garrett Cole's a glorified 2. And again, people don't agree with me when I say that. But again, you can't sit there and say that.
People don't agree with you when you say that because you're dead wrong.
No, I'm not. Because again, because the stats are a little misleading because halfway through the season when they cracked down, the dude was getting lit up. There was I think it was 6, 7 games in a row that the dude was getting lit up to the point where they were questioning him, bro. When they put the ban on the sticky stuff, he was getting lit up to oblivion.
No, not up to oblivion.
Yes, he was getting lit up to oblivion.
If he was getting lit up to an oblivion for the second half of the season, he wouldn't have a 3.2 ERA right now. He wouldn't have over 220 strikeouts.
Dude,
that's bottom line. That's bottom line.
Bro, how are you going to say that's bottom line when this is the same dude that comes out and in crucial games gets lit up? And you can't just say, oh, yeah, because of what's it called? You can't just sit there and say, oh, well, because remember, the first half of the season, the guy was on a tear. I'll give him that. They put the ban on the sticky stuff. What happened then? What happened on that second half of the season?
I'm saying if he was getting hit up to an oblivion, like you say, for the whole second half of the season, his ERA, he wouldn't be a Cy Young candidate right now. No matter what your ERA is. For the second half of the season.
There was 6 games in a row he was getting destroyed.
And his ERA is still a 3.2. He still has a chance to win the Cy Young.
He doesn't have a chance at all to win the Cy Young. The only people say he has a chance to win the Cy Young are Yankees fans. He's
the number 2 candidate right now. I think Robbie Ray's going to run away with it, but he's the number 2 candidate right now for Cy Young.
Okay, so in his first 8 starts, he was 5-1 with a 1.37 ERA. Right? We'll agree that's great, right?
That's disgusting.
right? Like that's vicious stuff, right?
OD.
The next 6 games, he went 3-3 with a 4.47 ERA.
That's not great.
Tell me he wasn't getting lit up to an oblivion. Now tell me he wasn't getting lit up to oblivion.
How many games? You said that's the next 4 games,
No,
right?
the next 6. That was the next 6 games. He went 3-3.
What happened after those 6 games?
After those 6 games, he looked. Average would be mean. He looked solid. He looked above average.
No, give me numbers. I'm not taking your word for it.
You're not taking my word for it?
No, absolutely not. Because you think this guy. Because I can't take your word for it. Because at the end of the day, you're saying this dude is a solidified number 2. You're saying he's an above average number 2 pitcher, which is
yes.
That's not giving him enough justice. I know that's not saying he's trash. I know you're not saying this dude is dog shit, which I wouldn't be on this podcast if you were saying that he was garbage, because I would know you don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm not saying he's garbage.
I know.
Saying he's getting overhyped. That's all I'm saying.
I do think Garrett Cole can get overhyped sometimes.
And that's where I'm at with him.
He's still a top 10 pitcher in the league. Easy. If you're basing it, the reason I say he's a top 10 pitcher is because he's still, in my eyes, the number 2 candidate for the Cy Young this year. And he's been in Cy Young contention for 4 straight years. Consistency matters. You cannot put a guy like Noah Syndergaard ahead of Garrett Cole when Noah Syndergaard hasn't pitched a complete season since 2016 or 2017.
I get that he hasn't pitched a complete.
You cannot say Shohei Ohtani is a better pitcher than Garrett Cole when this is the first year that he's been able to pitch a complete season, and he still wasn't able to pitch over 150 innings. The only people you can say are better than Garrett Cole are guys like Max Scherzer, are guys like Walker Buehler, are guys like, you can't even say Robbie Ray.
I'll take Robbie Ray. Oh, coming off of this year. Hold on. Here's the question. Because it seems like
consistency matters.
No. I gotta stop you there. We're talking about right now.
I know, but if you're making a ranking of pitchers, what I'm saying is, all right, anyone can have a breakout year. Brandon Jennings looked like he was going to be one of the best players in the NBA after his rookie year, and look what happened to him.
Okay.
There's guys that come out in all sports that come out and have that anomaly season.
Okay.
Garrett Cole has no anomalies. He's been consistently doing it.
He's got anomalies, though.
No, he doesn't, because longevity backs it up. You can't say.
Hold on. His final year in Pittsburgh, he went 12-12 with a 4.26 ERA. And the year before that, he went 7-10 with a 3.88 ERA.
But those would be anomalies then, because if you look
No. Anomaly happens once.
Okay, all right. So, but if you look at the majority of his career, he's been a well above average pitcher. He's been.
So there's 2 years. In 2014, he went 11-5 solid with a 3.65 ERA.
Above.
So now those are 3 seasons. 3 seasons.
A 3.65 ERA is not bad, especially for a young guy.
It's not ace material.
Yeah, but not everyone's an ace when they're 24.
Whoa. You told me in Pittsburgh he was an ace before he went to Houston.
What?
So, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. His rookie year, 10-7, 3.22 ERA. His second year, 11-5, 3.65 ERA. Then 2015, which was his best year, he went 19-8 with a 2.6 ERA. After that, 7-10, 3.88. Then his final year, 12-12, 4.26. If anything, his ace year is the anomaly. Then he goes to Houston. He met up with that dude from LA.
Oh, okay, wait. So you're just forgetting in 2015 in Pittsburgh when he had a 2.6 ERA.
No. I said that.
Pitched 208 innings and had over 200 strikeouts.
I said that. No, I'm not forgetting that. I said that.
And he did that when he's 24. You're forgetting that.
Hold on. But
you're forgetting. No. Just wait. You're forgetting that in 2013 when he got brought up during the season in his rookie year, he had a 3.22 ERA with 117 innings pitched with 100 strikeouts.
I said that. I literally just went through all his career stuff. You said I said the 10-7, 3.22. I said he only pitched about like 117 innings. So you can't call that an ace because of longevity. That was okay. That was number one. Then number two, the 3.65, his second year in the second year with Pittsburgh. He went 11-5 with a 3.65. That's not ace numbers. It's solid numbers though. That was year two. Then year three, he went 19-8 with a 2.6 ERA, which that's an ace year. I will give him that. Then I asked, of all those years, call him an ace. That 1 year was the only year you can legitimately call him an ace.
In Pittsburgh, maybe.
And I'm talking about in his Pittsburgh outing. Because then he went to Houston, and I believe he spent 2 years in Houston. Let me double check that. Yeah, he went 2 years in Houston. And he looked phenomenal in Houston. He looked phenomenal.
And he's also looked phenomenal in New York since he's been there.
His first year, he looked phenomenal.
And there's certain stretches of time where he gets blown up. That happens to some of the best pitchers in baseball. Clayton Kershaw, there's no questioning he's a bona fide ace. And there was a 3-year stretch where Clayton Kershaw was starting to get shelled. There was a stretch where people
questioned him.
Not just in the playoffs.
And people questioned him. When he was hitting his spurts in the regular season too, people questioned him. So my question is, why is it all of a sudden that Garrett Cole shouldn't be questioned?
He is being questioned right now, and he's also getting questioned all around the world right now.
And he should have been questioned like what, 2 years ago?
No, because 2 years ago he was going
crazy. 2 years ago when the allegations came up.
No.
Hold on. I'm about to tell you why they should have questioned him 2 years ago. 2 years ago when the allegation of the sticky stuff came up and his name came up. I'm not denying, like in Houston, those 2 years, I'm not going to deny those numbers. Those are some phenomenal numbers.
You cannot.
I'm not denying those numbers.
You cannot blame one player for a league-wide issue. Everyone was using sticky stuff.
I don't think everyone was using it. I don't think so.
A lot of people were using sticky stuff.
And that is true. And that is true. Now, this is where I look at it. Now they're putting a ban on it. Max Scherzer's still getting turned in LA. And Garrett Cole's still getting turned too. No, he's getting turned on.
No.
I'm going to say it again. This year, 5-1, 1.37 ERA in his first
I know the numbers.
Then after that, he went 3 things for 4.47. He's getting blown up.
That's 6 straight games, and that's a tough stretch. There could have been other factors that are going into that. Could it be the sticky stuff? Yeah. But also, too, if you're doing something consistently for a while that was legal, if you're doing something consistently for a while and then afterwards it gets taken away from you, your whole routine goes out of whack and you have to adjust. And it takes time to adjust. He wasn't the only pitcher that was pitching bad up to that during that stretch of time. I mean, Chris, season ended because
I'm not accusing him of
sticky stuff from him.
And 100%. And I, in my opinion, I want to see how Tyler Glasnow looks afterwards. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was having a little bit of an iffy stretch. So it could be that. But my thing is, look, I'm saying the guy's a number 2. If the way you're coming at me is if I'm saying the dude at best is a 5 on his best day.
No, the reason I'm coming at you like this is because there's no way that can be true.
But it is though.
It's not.
But it is though.
It's not. If you look at the last 4 years.
Yes.
There's 1 year he wasn't a Cy Young candidate, and it's because he got hurt.
You said the last 4 years?
During the last 4 years, this year, last year, the year before that, and the year before that, there was only 1 year he wasn't a Cy Young candidate, and it's because he got hurt.
Which year was that?
His first year in New York.
He wasn't hurt.
Yes, he was.
He was? I could have sworn the only reason that his numbers were down. I don't count that year, by the way, because everyone it's hard to look at the numbers.
Oh, you might be. No. I think you're right. Shortened season.
Yeah. That season was like stupid short because the whole COVID thing. So it's kind of
okay. Then
I'm gonna give him that one.
Then for the last 4 years, he has been a top 3 Cy Young candidate in all 4 years.
But you and I both understood. Like, we already came to that. Just because you're in Cy Young contention doesn't mean you're an ace.
It does if you do it for 4 straight years.
I don't know.
There's no way you can dispute that. The argument with Rick Parcello is he only did it for 1 year. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that he had 20 wins. And he wouldn't have had 20 wins if he was on a team that wasn't the Boston Red Sox. A lot of it was luck because we turned up when we played for him.
And I'm admitting it. Also, too, that is true. That's the only reason. If he doesn't have those 20 wins, we're not having this conversation. And I'll admit that. That is true.
He probably shouldn't have won anyway. Justin Verlander had a better season.
I'm with you there. If it was up to me, I would have voted Verlander because I thought Verlander did better. I think the only thing statistically that Porcello had over Verlander was the 20 wins. But other than that, Justin Verlander outranked him. All I'm saying is magically this band comes on. Max Scherzer has no issues with it. Walker Buehler had no issues. Lance Lynn had no issues. Shane Bieber had no issues. It's weird. All these top pitchers had no issues except for Garrett Cole. That's all I'm saying. And you can't dispute that.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see next season when we get a full season.
But here's what we'll do. Next season, because I was misinformed. I just want to apologize. I thought this was a 2 Boston Red Sox guys getting together and celebrating. I was.
Do you see this?
I'm sorry. I didn't get the text message that you're a Yankees fan.
Are you
kidding? I didn't get that text message. So next year, after that finishes, we're gonna have the conversation. We're gonna see how Garrett Cole pitches, and we go from there. I just did not realize saying he was a number 2 is like the same as spitting on the guy. Like, I'm not.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
You're making it seem like I'm calling him Rick Porcello or something.
I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, but I'm an unbiased Red Sox fan.
Me too, to an extent. Look, I just believe. I'm admitting to an extent. I'm admitting that to an extent.
Yeah.
I just don't like all this hype about Garrett Cole. I genuinely believe he's a number 2. That's just me. Again, agree to disagree. Because at the end of the day, I don't think being a number 1 or number 2 is too far off. I don't think they're that far off. But now it seems like I'm just walking back on it. Before I let you go, quick $1 million question. Do you think we realistically can win the World Series? Notice the word realistically.
I'm going to say we do have a chance, but a lot of things have to go right. I will say I think we will beat the Rays in 5 games.
Ooh.
I think we will beat the Rays in 5 games. Okay. I think they have young arms. Their lineup isn't as good as ours in my eyes. The only thing they have better than us is a bullpen. But if our bats stay as hot as they have been,
I think we'll be all right.
I think we're going to be all right because we're going to get into that bullpen early on in the series and we're going to tire them out. And getting this amount of momentum from a rivalry game in a wild card, that momentum, I would have rather been in the wild card and win that game than get the rest and get some rest and play 2 days later home. I'd rather be able to have the chance to get this momentum. I think the Rays are going to be our toughest challenge, so I think we have a very realistic chance of getting to the World Series. But I will say if we have to go up against the Dodgers, I think it's clips.
Yeah, 100%. I genuinely agree. I feel like if we can get through the Rays, I genuinely believe we'll be fine. And I say, I think we can hold our own against the Dodgers because of our offense and our lineup. I do think because we got some potent bats top to bottom.
We just don't have the pitching. Our bullpen.
That's what I think.
Is weak. Our bullpen is weak, and
yep.
I love that Nathan Eovaldi comes up in the clutch in the playoffs. He's proven that he can do it on a consistent basis.
Yep.
But we don't know what we're going to get with Chris Sale. Although he has looked good, he has
injury. You don't know. You don't know.
He's gotten hit around, I think, at least twice since he's been back, which is okay. It happens. Even aces do that. But he's gotten hit around a little bit. He's still trying to get comfortable. I think he's more comfortable than he's been. But at the end of the day, he hasn't had to go up against the Dodgers.
Yeah, which I think that's what it's all really going to come down to. Like I said, I think we have a solid chance if we can get through Tampa.
And I do not trust Erod.
I don't at all. I know he's getting the nod game one, and I'm nervous. I genuinely am. I just don't. I don't want to say I don't trust him. The way he's been pitching right now, he should not be starting. He should be coming out the bullpen. Like, he should not be given the ball to start, because I don't like it.
But the problem with the Red Sox right now is, again, we weren't supposed to be here, so I cannot be mad at this.
100%.
But we just don't have anyone else. We don't have anyone else that can fill that role.
The only thing I could think of is pitch by committee on the days Erod pitches. So you have a couple guys come out pitch. That's the only. That's if we replace that. If we don't let Erod pitch.
Do that. It's hard to do that in the playoffs, though, because in the playoffs, your arms get tired quick. It's a 3-man rotation. Let's say one of your guys gets blown up. You're gonna have if you're having long relievers pitch 2-3 innings in a game that's being pitched by a committee and then turn around and have to pitch 2 or 3 more the next day, they're probably going to get hurt or they're going to get shelled.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think we'll be okay. You know, I share your sentiment with us beating Tampa Bay. I think that's just me being a fan, because, you know, our lineup is better in terms of offense, but defensively, their pitching is nice. It's coming to life. So I can't.
It's nice, but the reason that I say we take it is because their pitching's young, and our pitchers have experience pitching in the postseason.
That is true.
Our most important pitchers, with the exception of maybe Garrett Whitlock, have experience. We're on that World Series team. Evaldi, Erod, Chris Sale, Matt Barnes. Those 4 guys were pitching for us in the World Series and in that whole run, and they've all proved that they can pitch well in the postseason. Yeah,
so it's going to be interesting. Like I said, look, I genuinely believe to get there, if we beat the Rays, I think we have a legitimate chance.
I do too.
And when I say legitimate chance, I genuinely mean it. Now, granted, to get through them, do I think we'll win it?
No.
Like you said, a lot's going to have to fall in place, because the Dodgers, and even if we don't see the Dodgers, the Giants, they scare me. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm way more scared of the Dodgers than I am of the Giants.
Oh, no, don't get it twisted. Oh, no, 100%. No. I'm way more fearful for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But if the Dodgers somehow get bounced, I still don't think it's an easy gate to the World Series, because if they get bounced, more than likely we got to see the Giants. And I don't know how that'll work, but look, like you said, we shouldn't be here. So I'm just glad we're here.
I'm glad we're here. I'm taking it all in. I'm just excited that we're here. I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. I'm very happy with how our GM has built this team.
Yep.
I'm just excited to see what we have in the future, and I'm excited to see money come off of the books that has been straining us for a while.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I think at one point we were still paying Manny Ramirez for like a long time, and it's like what the?
I think we might still be paying Pablo and Hanley for maybe one more year. I don't know, because that gets deferred for a lot of years when you release a guy.
Yeah,
and then also too, we're still. I remember we were still paying Alan Craig. I don't know if you remember him. We were still paying Alan Craig. We're still on the books for a few guys, and the David Price trade.
Yeah, I was about to say that David Price trade still got us.
We had to take over half of the money from that deal, which I wasn't the biggest fan of that trade, but I do love Verdugo. I'm excited for what Jeter Downs can do. Basically, I like where our farm system's at. I think we've been drafting well. I think we had a really good draft for this MLB draft. And I'm excited for free agency to see what we do, because we're not I like not being in full win now mode while still getting better.
Yeah, 100%. Because you know what I mean? Because then eventually when we do turn into that win now mode, we only need like a piece or two. And by then we'll be able to, you know, we don't got to beg you and throw you a big contract. We have a decent team where, you know, we'll be fine. So
we'll have the money and we'll have the farm system where if someone's not willing to take a deal, we're going to have a young guy willing to replace him.
Exactly. So, but yo, Chris, this was fun, bro. Appreciate you.
It was a great time, man. I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to do it again.
100%, bro. Like always, follow us on Twitter at Prideful Takes. I love arguing with people on Twitter, bro. That honestly is like my life calling at this point. It really is, especially when you're right and they start stuttering.
Yeah.
Funniest thing in the world. Catch us on Facebook at Prideful Takes. We put up memes, my NFL pick'ems. I dropped them. Mine's gonna drop tomorrow morning before the Thursday night game. And you know, all the news, all that good stuff. We're also on YouTube, so if you don't have Facebook, check us out on YouTube at Prideful Takes. Every episode of the podcast is there. Go to our website, www.pridefultakes.com. Not only is every episode of the podcast there, but we also have original articles. And I know my face is hit, so if you just want to listen to my voice, check us out on Spotify at the Prideful Takes podcast. Chris, brother, it's been an honor. It was fun, bro.
I had a great time, and I really appreciate you having me on. And like I said, I'm excited to do it again.
100%, bro. So for Chris, it's your boy Pride. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Knew where that was going. That was a great read. Oh, Lillard from the logo. That'll quiet the 2 on the season. 2nd and 1 for the Bills. They handle the rush. Allen looking. End zone.
To Shohei Ohtani. Center field. Let's watch it go. Did several of those inside low kicks.